Well, let's have another go at this. I started my stream, everything was wrong, it wasn't online. Let's start again. So I've created a stair. I've got the stair here. Goes up, goes around. Let's have a look at the settings for the stair. So there's a couple of things I want to change on the stair. For example, the graphics. I want to change the size. But first of all, let's have a look at how many stairs are available in Vectorworks. So this is the stair tool. This is the one that you're looking at the moment. There are several that you can choose from. So I've found that there's a custom stair. This is the old stair that we used to have before the main stair. There's the old-fashioned simple stair and a circular stair. These two stairs are great for early concept drawing. I've used them a lot. They used to be the stairs that were available. They've still got a good use, I reckon, because they don't take a lot of thinking. They're very simple stairs, circular, very simple straight stairs. They don't take a lot of work to get them to do what you need. This stair is a bit more complicated. Let's just go through the settings for it. And what I've done, since I've already got the stair, I'm just going to go to the settings. So the setting, oh, that's a custom stair. That one, a custom stair. Where's my other stair? There it is over here. So this is the stair, and I've already done some work on this one. And what you can see is I've got the stair going up. I've got it turning the corner, and you can also see I've got it dashed above, and that's one of the settings that I've put in. So here with the settings, I can go into the graphics. I've chosen that I want this to be on both layers. This is my lower layer, that's my upper layer. I can choose stair data, and I can show the number of rises, which is really quite cool. And then I can go back to the general settings. So that's what I've got. I've got a stair which is 3 meters high, about 10 feet. I've got a tread depth. I want that really to be 280 millimeters, which is nearly 12 inches. It's just under, what's that, 10 inches, 280 I think. There's my riser height. I want that to be closer to 170. It's a little bit more gentle. But remember the formula. 2 risers plus the going. Don't show this again. Let's go. So 2 risers plus the going here, 613. So that works out to be a nice stair. If this goes over 620, then the stair starts to become awkward. Or if it gets less than about 550, again it gets really awkward. So if we set this to be 130 millimeters, and I'm going to say keep changes, and you can see here this is 450. This stair becomes uncomfortable because it's too short. So you do need to be aware that the 2R plus the 2 riser plus going should equal round about 600. Cool. So now it's 613, good stair. I got the width, which is 3 feet wide. I don't worry about this one. I don't worry about that one so much. And I don't worry about that one. What I do though is I go through the geometry, and I'm much more careful about this one. I want to fix the height because I'm fixing it by I don't want it to change accidentally. The tread depth, I want to fix that as well, so you can lock these things. This needs to be flexible so I can change it. The width is fine. That width is fine. That width is fine. But what do I do? There's one thing I do change is the well between the 2 treads, between the 2 flights, which is here's where I do make that change. So I got 900 plus 900, so I got my 2 flights plus the well, 6 inches. So 6 inches between them. And there we are, and you can see what's happened. I've ended up with some strange information. So let's go back to that. I want that to be 9 and 9, but what I really want to limit is this offset here. I want that offset to be half a tread, and this one to be half a tread as well. So lock those so that when you make changes, they don't change this. So for example, if I want that to be 10 at the bottom, and then I've got 8 at the top. If I make it 8 at the bottom, I should have 10 at the top, but you'll notice that these haven't changed because I've locked them. So lock the vital ones, and 175 maybe. What will it change to? 176. Okay, so it's a bit more. It's a bit steeper. Now I've got 9 at the bottom and 8 at the top. Cool. So go around, come up. I can look at the railings here, so I can turn on the railings if I want. There's a handrail option, so you can turn on a handrail that follows the stair, and that's sometimes quite nice to do that. It's okay that. There we are. Now I've also set the stair up. I'm going to go back to my settings. I've also set the stair up for my 2D graphics, so the upper graphic is on floor 2, the lower graphic is on this design layer, and then what I can do is then have a check to make sure they've got my brake where I want it, which is okay. 1800 brake, so it's just moved down a little bit. Just wherever you want it. If you want it, now you can't have the brake differently on this one and that one. We can show the headrooms. There's a lot of information. This stair is very complex. Sorry, this stair is very competent. You can do a lot of things with this stair. You can change the angle of the stair, so you can click there and change the angle if you want. Just make it 105 degrees. I've got to unlock one. I don't want to do that. But if you unlock these, you can then change that angle, and you can make the stair, particularly if the building's an old building and the walls aren't, the walls aren't perfect. You can make those changes. I've worked on some stairs that had 120 degrees between them. What a pain. Okay, so we've got the risers, we've got the tread, we've got the value, we've got the general settings, and okay that. And let's look at this in 3D. There it is, you can see that. And we've got the stair. This is usually a little bit nicer than that, but at least it's not too manky. So that's our handrail. Now if we don't want that handrail, we can use our railing tool to replace that. So let's go to our railings. Let's turn off that. I just wanted to show you before we go too far, you can show the guardrail and you can have a handrail as well. Now the challenge with using these inbuilt guardrails and handrails is how do you then connect them to other parts of the building? Whereas if we go to use the railing tool, that's this one here. If we use this railing tool, then we can actually apply it to the next flight up. So we can actually have this handrail come up here, go up there, return, and come along. It's really cool. So let's put a handrail on here. I'm going to choose a handrail. So there's lots to choose from Vectorworks. Guardrails, handrails, wood ones, panelized ones. This one's got glass. This one's got glass. Let's choose that one. And we're not going to import that texture. So I'm going to start there. I'm going to put one there, there, there. Now at this point I really need to be, from this point here, I really need to be the same as half a tread maybe, or at least I need to put a post here and then go around my building, around my stair, there, there, and I'm clicking at the front of each tread when I do that, or clicking at the front of treads. Now because I clicked at the front of treads, you can see I've got a nice straight handrail that comes up, goes around the corner. It's not sitting perfectly on the stair, so we need to look at why it's not sitting there, and the settings probably saying that this needs to be, let's just have a look. Let's edit our style. So general terms, offset from the railing path. So we're offset by 0, which means that when I clicked on the corner of the stair, it went right there for the handrail. So we need that to come in maybe 50 millimeters, 2 inches. This is just a guardrail, no handrail. So this is the guardrail. Top rail is a square post. I want that to be a little bit nicer than a square post. So there are lots to choose from. You could choose that one there, which is a circle. And you can see it's quite a small circle, but we're going to make that 65 in that direction. And so it's going to end up with an oval shape. I worked on a project where we had these massive handrails out of American cherry. Really lovely. Okay, so let's make that 90 by 30. So it's got an oval on it. So the top boundary is on every path. Okay, let's have a look at the post. Now the post, for this particular post, this is using a 3D post, but we could just use a circular post. Just a nice little circular post. We're going to make that 40 and 40. And so now I've got a little circle to support that. the spacing type, equal spacing. We can have fixed distance, so we can actually specifically put in the distance between the treads or between the posts. And the frame, this is the frame here now. What's the offset of the frame? That looks like it's going in the center line of the posts, which is okay. And so now we've got that shape. And it's offset just, it's not offset what I thought it was. Let's go back to that offset. Let's go back to our style. Edit style, offset. Oh, this is set to be not controlled by the style. Now it's offset by 50 millimeters. So now you can see that that's working as a handrail. It's a guardrail, but it's working as a handrail. Now there are some things that you can change in 3D. So for example, if I want to change the height of a post, I can get my reshape tool, and I can reshape things like this post here. I can change the height of that post. I could bring that post down to that point, bring that one down as well if I wanted. And there are some things that I can change in 2D. So you do need to be aware that I can change some of these things in 3D, but some are 2D only. So for example, if I go back to my selection tool, this is my reshape tool still. So you can see that I created a click here for that post. If I move that post, I'm going to move that post up to about there. Let's move that post to that point. Right, it's not going to do that. Let's go back to the selection tool. Where's my outline? No. So I can't change the position of those posts. Let's go back to, that's my selection tool. Let's go back to my reshape tool. Select my stair, my handrail, reshape, that one there. Now it's only letting me change some things. So it should show me every place that I clicked, but it's not. There we are. Did I click there? No. Oh, did I make, maybe I didn't click at each of those places. Oh, I got the stair. Let's get my handrail. Let's get my reshape tool. Okay, let's add a point. Oh yeah, okay, that's cool. So let's get rid of that point. I can get rid of that point. That'll put us tread. I can get rid of that one. So now it's going to be equal spacing down here. But these may not touch the treads if you do that. So I'm going to add a point. So I'm going to add another point here. Touch that point there. Come across in line with it. Click. So I've added an extra point there. Now I can get rid of one of those. So I don't want that one. And I can add another. So don't forget that every time you add a point, it will add a post. So that's added posts on this side. But the really important thing is to make sure that these posts line up with a specific known point, like a point on the tread. So you've got a point on the tread there. That's on a tread. If you want another one, you can add one here. That's a point on the tread. You can add one there. We've got one of those at the top as well. So this modification in 2D allows you to manipulate these in, manipulate the location of the posts. When you go to a 3D view, you'll find that you can't manipulate them in the same way. Now here, because I made those changes, the stair's not following this, the rail is not following that stair anymore. So what do? Let's get our gravity tool, click on that, and now you can see that it's following those quite happily. This post here doesn't know whether it wants to sit on the tread or not, on the corner of the tread. I use the center of the treads for those. I just find that much easier. If we go back to a plan view, we'll just move our post locations. So that's going to move to the center line of the post. Sorry, the center line of the tread. I want that to be on the center line of a tread as well. And let's have a look. I want to move. So I'm going to manipulate some of these. Sometimes the easiest way to do it is to start from the beginning and then know that, and then put some guidelines in that'll really help you to get those the way you want. So for example, I know that here, -140. I need that to be there. I need another line here. That would really help. I'm going to move that as well. Here I'm going to put some posts. I'm going to put some lines through here. Move that line half a tread up. Now I'm going to start placing my handrail again. So my rail tool, we're going to use the gravity. We're going to click there to start, and then click at midpoint. And I'm clicking at midpoints on some of my treads. That should be a midpoint as well. There. No, I want that to be there. Now, where did I click? I think I clicked there, and this one's going to be a challenge because there's nothing underneath it. I really need a floor underneath it. So I'm going to double click here to finish. Let's have a look at that in 3D. So it's pretty well, I missed. Okay, so the problem was this one here, because there's no floor, there's nothing for that to land on. And that's what's given me that particular one. So let's go back to a 2D. That's what I should have used, but I needed a floor. Reshape. Let's just remove that point there, and we'll leave it like that. So that's not a bad stair. It's a slight angle change here, and there's a slight angle change here. I just need to look at why they're doing that, but not today. So today I just wanted to cover that as a railing so you can see how it works. So we can do things. So if, for example, if the posts are face fixed, let's go back and we'll flip this. So we want these posts to actually fix to the face of the face of my stair, so I can actually extend each of those posts down. But this is something you can only do in 3D. You can't do this in 2D. And so that looks like face fixed handrails. So that's another thing you can do, so you can manipulate those parts. We can change the distance between posts. So the posts where I didn't click, I can move those posts around, just moving them along the path. This one is for, sometimes I need to refresh my memory, move post vertically mode. So if I grab that and move it up, it's moving the entire post up, so it's not just stretching it down. And so you can see what it's done. It's given me a very strange thing there. This is to do with the panels. It's a selective display of segment. Well, maybe I don't want that segment, or I don't want that one. And you can turn off, and you can see I've turned off a couple of posts. So that was the one at the back. Turn off that one. And it should turn off any posts that are in between. But you can see my gravity's gone nuts again, so I just need to go gravity again. Where's it gone now? It's gone to the floor because there's nothing to support that. What it does do is it looks at where that post is in relation to my 3D objects. We need to flip that. Now we can go back to the gravity. And sometimes what I find I need to do is I need to lift that up in the air. There you can see there that selective display. Let's go back to that, put that rail back in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift that up in 3D. I'm going to use my move 3D command. I need to move it up by about 6 meters because it's really gone to the ground. Now that it's above the stair, I can just use my gravity and that'll fit to the stair again. So that's one of the choices you've got. Now the reason the stair was introduced, this particular stair, was because the original stair was this one, which is known as the custom stair now. And the custom stair had very limited handrails and railing abilities. But because we've now got a railing tool, you can go back to using this if you want. Now I think if I click there, and double click there, and let's offset that setting so it's inside. Let's move that in 3D. And let's then use our gravity and drop it down. So you can see I've now got the same handrail on both stairs, and it doesn't matter that one is a custom stair and one is not. But one of the beauties of this custom stair is its flexibility. So at the moment they look similar, these two stairs look similar, but this one is much more flexible. Often I find landscapers using this particular one because it's so flexible. If we look at the settings, we've got our settings. Now I think maybe the reason people don't use this one or didn't understand this one is because they didn't realize that it was actually made out of parts, and each part you could deal with individually. So let's have a look at flights and platforms. So this one is a straight flight, but it doesn't have to be straight, it could be curved. We then go to the next part, which is a landing, which doesn't have to be a platform U, it could be a platform L, or it could be a curved platform. And then we can control the length, make it a bit shorter, apply, and you can see there it is there. We can change the outside radius, and we can change the curve. Now we can change the angle if you want. We can go to an angle if you like. Let's make it 20 degrees, apply that, and that's going 20 degrees. You want it to be 60 degrees, you can apply that 60 degrees, and now it curves. And the outside, that's the outside radius, but at that outside radius, at that angle, that's how long it has to be. So that should be a 900 radius there. And we can just keep having fun applying those. So I've got 20 degree, oh, I just hit the enter key, didn't I? Okay, so we've got a 20 degree, that gives us that tread there. And then we've got this flight. Go next, that's our next flight. You can see it turns red, so what this is a straight flight. Doesn't have to be straight, can be curved. And we can make that counterclockwise, we can curve it the other way. I tell you what, why don't we just go backwards, go to the previous one. Let's remove that previous one, and we're going to change the bottom one to curved. And we're going to have our stair do both ways. It's going to curve in both directions. And so you can make this, if you're a landscape, you can make this go around trees, you can make it go around landscape facilities, and it's really cool. It's so flexible. So I can make lots of changes to that. I've made stairs that have got strange angles. It works really well. But the big question is, what do we do about a railing now? Well, why not just use our railing tool? We've got a railing tool, and we could just go to the center of that tread, center of that one, and I'm just clicking every other tread, which are going to the center of every other one. Now, if I can find the midpoint of that one, and to the midpoint of that one, midpoint of that one, and double click there. And so I've now got a handrail, and you can see I'm using the same handrail as before, and the angle is going to change because of the curve, but now I can apply that handrail to that stair. So that's the custom stair. It is so flexible. I really like using that particular one. We can make it, we can change the width. We can't change the width as we go down. And the other thing we can't do with all the stairs is to create a separate stair, like a wider stair for the bottom tread. And that you're going to have to do manually. Okay, and this is, so you can see I've applied a rail to that particular stair. This is the simple circular stair. So the simple circular stair, if you want one, this is great. You just apply it. The angle, 300 degrees, and it just goes all the way around. Starts at the bottom and goes up. And the size of these treads is just because of the height that it's going and the angle that it's going. The riser, the outer radius, let's make that 1200, so it's a bit closer together. And there it is, so the treads have come closer together. If you want to make this very, let's make it 950, so it's just a little gap. So you can make those sort of stairs if you want, very quick. The tread riser 171, the angle 300, the thickness 25. So you can just play with that. It's a really simple. So for early design, sometimes this is a great stair because you just get the design and you can get it in quickly and be done with it. This is a rail, so I've actually put a handrail on there. This is a simple stair. And this is, again, is what we used to have in the old days before the custom stair. So this is a really quick stair to put in where you just want to have a really quick, simple stair. You can have straight with a landing, landing right, landing left, double back, and with the double back you put in the separation, and it's just a quick way to get your stairs in at an early stage of the design before you need to worry about a lot of what's going on. Landing tread is 8, and so it's just about equal. There's an offset 1 and 2, 140 and 140 again, but that makes it just come back together, which is 139. Does the job that I want. It's giving that little well at that point. So that's just a really quick stair. I've used this lots of times. Creates a 3D. I've used straight with landing, and the landing is at tread 1, and that gives you a landing at the bottom, which is sometimes kind of fun. But what you could do, so the landing size is not controllable, I don't think. Where's the landing? Landing tread, separation, offset. So these become zeros. But that landing is the same width, same length as its width. And I don't think you can change that. And the other one I wanted to mention was this one here. So there's my rails. I can get rid of the rails. So this is the simple stair which I've cut. So I'll show you how to do that. So sometimes for commercial buildings, I find that the simple stair does a great job, and I can just cut it. So let's get rid of that, delete those, and I'm just going to change this back to a straight stair. But that's a straight stair, and one of the tricks I've often used is to grab the split tool and split that stair. So let's make that wider, because we're going to make an entrance to a park or something, or an entrance to a stadium. So the width of this is going to be a bit wider, 1500, and I've got an angle to this. So what I need to do is to grab my stair. I'm going to grab my knife, my split tool, keep that part. Now what I'd tend to do, if I was going to do that, would be to... Now this is a solid section, which means in 2D it's going to look like that. It doesn't look too bad until you start putting other things behind. It's see-through. But we can use a technique called AEC, Create Auto Hybrid, to make that into an auto hybrid object. Before you do that, make sure you mirror that. Where's my mirror tool? Is here. Mirror and copy. So from that corner to there. So now I've got my two stairs. Select them both and then auto hybrid them. So that's what they look like in auto hybrid, and you can see that in auto hybrid my cut plane is there. Let's make it 3 meters and you'll see the entire stair. So now you'll notice that you can't see through it. Go to a top view and let's go to a wireframe view, and this is what we were seeing before. We were actually seeing right through the stair and we were seeing all the components. So let's go back and make that shaded view. Let's go back to shaded, and okay, so now it's a bit tight at the top. I know that, sorry. So now I'm going to get my handrail. I'm going to put a handrail one, start there, finish there, and put my handrails on. Now it didn't do what I wanted because for some reason it didn't see it all. Do I need to offset it? Probably need to offset that. Flip the offset. Make sure that it's going on top of the stair. That's better. So then I need to do what I was doing before, lift that up in 3D, and then gravity it down again. So now it's sitting down there. And then if I was going to do that, these need to be a lot wider, I know that. But if I just then mirror that, I don't have to redraw it, it's just a mirror image. And so I've then got the two handrails doing what I want to do. So that stair I think has got some use. I think it's really useful for that sort of quick 3D modeling. I can't remember whether I can cut this one up as well. Probably can. It does stop it being a stair. Yeah, there you are. So you can cut that. I don't know if you'd want to... do you want to join those two together? would be a really weird stair. But there you are. So we can do those kinds of things. So to me, there's a reason for each of these stairs. Let's revert back to my saved view. Now this is a trick. So if you don't know this trick, revert to saved. It's really handy if you've done a whole lot of changes since you last saved and they don't work. You can go revert to saved. You'll go back to your last saved version. And there it is. That's what I had this morning when I started. That's my saved versions. So back to my stair. Now it has reset absolutely everything. So it's you know, if I draw with this glass rail, it's not going to look the way that I expected it to. I've got some in my own library. I've got one which is a stainless with a handrail as well. Now I don't know if anyone's noticed. No one's left me a question about it. But if you notice, there's this ability to have stainless guardrail. Okay, so we're back at doing this. Let's choose one from my library. I sometimes use the handrail for other things. Never mind. Let's go back to that. Select that. Don't import. We use the current one. Start at the bottom. Go round. Double click to finish. So what did that do? Pretty quick. It just needs fixing here. This is just not quite right. That post needs to come down a little bit. I really need an extra post, but that's why you need to plan out your handrail and make sure that you're clicking at the right point so that you get your posts where they belong. And let's go and draw a line across here. Let's move that. Now it should be 280 for my tread. And so now now you have to do this in plan view. You can't do this outside. I'm going to add a location. I'm going to add one right. Where's it gone? So let's get back to my reshape tool. So that one there, I want to add a post right there. Let's have a look at that in 3D. And we've left that. So let's move it up in the air. And we'll gravity it down. Oh, that looks so much nicer, doesn't it? They're all going so the front of the tread. So yeah, so we get that. We can add extra posts. Remember, if you want to, just use your reshape tool, add extra posts, but be careful where you add them. Do you want them on the center of the tread or on the nose of the tread, and so on? Well, I think that just about covers it for me today. I'm sorry I messed up at the beginning. I really didn't get it going properly. So if you were there at the beginning and you missed it, sorry. But if you came early and I wasn't doing anything, I apologize. Now, these are the sort of things that I cover in my community. And if you want to join my community, check it out. It is fantastic. The feedback from people is really enjoyable. They're really enjoying what we're covering in the community now. I'll just bring my classroom across. I'll show you my classroom. So this is what we've got going on at the moment. I've got all these courses that are available in my community. And one of the things that happens is I've just started these catch-up classes. Every week we're now starting to have this little catch-up. What did we do this week? We did tips and tricks with data tags. We did stairs and railings the other day, which is why I'm doing it today. So if you want to go back and have a look through here, please do. The people are really starting to get a lot from this community. If you're getting started with Vectorworks, the foundation course, then if you're an architect, move into the architect, or if you're a landscaper, move into the landscaper. This is also a great place for tips and tricks. Every time I've got some, I post them here. I've got loads of manuals that you can download as well. And I think it's really worth the money. Some people say it's expensive. I think it's really good value for what you're getting. There's also the community with lots of questions and answers in it. And I post what I'm doing, and you can see that it's got a calendar of events. What have we got coming up? Oh, that's me doing YouTube Live. Next week we've got Hardscape, we've got an architect session, and we're looking at tags and filters again. We've looked at those once before, but the ability in Vectorworks to filter what you're looking at. So I got some stuff for that. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I really thank you for being here. So see you later.